Imagine a world where every achievement feels hollow, where the goalposts of success constantly shift just out of reach, and where the weight of expectations, both internal and external, threatens to crush you. For millions of people, this isn't imagination. It's their daily reality. Welcome to the world shaped by the injustice wound. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of a psychological pattern that drives overachievers, fuels a relentless pursuit of perfection, and often leaves its bearers feeling eternally inadequate despite their numerous accomplishments. We're not just talking about high standards or a strong work ethic. We're exploring a profound wound that reshapes one's entire worldview. Let's start with Lynn. At 32, she's already a senior partner at a prestigious law firm. Her colleagues marvel at her work ethic, her clients praise her meticulous attention to detail, and on paper, she's the very image of success. But beneath this polished exterior lies a storm of anxiety, self-doubt, and a gnawing sense that no matter what she achieves, it's never quite enough. The roots of Lynn's drive trace back to her childhood. Growing up, she quickly learned that praise and affection were tightly tied to her achievements. A 95% on a test wasn't celebrated. Instead, she was questioned about the 5% she missed. In the face of this constant scrutiny, young Lynn internalized a powerful message: I must be perfect to be worthy of love and acceptance. Now, let's shift gears and look at a different manifestation of the injustice wound. Meet Emma, a 28-year-old who, despite her intelligence and education, can't seem to settle into a steady job. At first glance, Emma's story might seem vastly different from Sarah's, but dig deeper and you'll find the same wound driving her actions. Emma's calendar is a whirlwind of volunteer activities. One day she's at an animal shelter, the next she's organizing a beach cleanup, and on weekends she's running workshops on sustainable living. Her passion is admirable, her energy seemingly boundless. But there's a catch. Emma's relentless pursuit of making things right in the world has left her own life in a state of constant upheaval. When asked about her career, Emma becomes defensive. How can I focus on a 9-to-5 when there's so much wrong with the world? She argues. But beneath this righteousness lies a deep-seated fear. A fear of not being good enough, of failing to live up to impossible standards of making a difference. Emma's wound also traces back to her childhood, where she learned that her worth was tied to being the good girl who always did the right thing. Any misstep, no matter how small, was met with disappointment from her parents. Over time, Emma internalized a powerful message: I must constantly strive to make things right to be worthy. This childhood wound doesn't just affect Emma's career choices, it colors every aspect of her life. She struggles to maintain relationships, always prioritizing her causes over personal connections. Her financial situation is precarious, as she often donates beyond her means. And despite her tireless efforts, Emma rarely feels satisfied, always seeing more problems to solve, more wrongs to right. Emma's story illustrates another facet of the injustice wound, one where the drive for perfection manifests not in career achievement, but in a ceaseless quest to fix the world's problems. It's a poignant reminder that even the most noble-seeming behaviors can sometimes stem from a place of woundedness. What we're seeing in Emma's case is a classic manifestation of the savior complex, a psychological construct that's often deeply intertwined with the injustice wound. Those with a savior complex feel an overwhelming responsibility to rescue others or solve global issues, often at the expense of their own well-being. The savior complex and the injustice wound feed into each other in a vicious cycle. The need to be perfect transforms into a need to create a perfect world. The righteousness that stems from the injustice wound provides a moral high ground from which to judge and fix others or situations. The overachievement drive is channeled into constant activism or rescue missions, leaving little time for self-reflection or personal growth. Each saved person or solved problem provides a temporary boost of self-worth, but it's never enough to heal the underlying wound. This complex isn't limited to global activists like Emma. It can manifest in personal relationships too. Consider the person who's always drawn to fixing troubled partners, or the friend who constantly offers unsolicited advice and feels responsible for solving everyone's problems. The savior complex, much like other manifestations of the injustice wound, often stems from childhood experiences. Perhaps praise only came when sacrificing for others, or maybe taking on adult responsibilities at a young age created a sense of superiority and indispensability. While the desire to help others is admirable, when it stems from the injustice wound and manifests as a savior complex, it can lead to burnout from constantly putting others' needs before one's own. Difficulty in forming equal reciprocal relationships. A sense of superiority that paradoxically masks deep feelings of unworthiness. Resentment when others don't change or show sufficient gratitude. Neglect of personal growth and self-care. Recognizing the savior complex as a manifestation of the injustice wound is crucial for healing. It involves learning that true strength lies not in constant rescuing, but in empowering others while maintaining healthy boundaries. This childhood wound colors every aspect of life. Let's explore how it may manifest. 1. The perfection paradox. Those carrying this wound often set impossibly high standards for themselves. The cruel irony? This pursuit of perfection often leads to procrastination, unfinished projects, and a constant sense of falling short. 2. Righteousness as armor. There's often a strong sense of what's right and fair. This righteousness can serve as a shield, protecting the wounded self from criticism. However, it can also lead to inflexibility and difficulty in relationships. 3. The achievement treadmill. One's success quickly fades as the focus shifts to the next goal. There's rarely a moment to truly savor accomplishments, leading to a perpetual state of striving without satisfaction. 4. Emotional austerity. Feelings, especially vulnerable ones, are often seen as a weakness. This emotional suppression can lead to difficulties in forming deep, authentic connections. 5. The control illusion. There's often an intense need to control one's environment and outcomes. This can manifest as micromanagement, difficulty delegating, or anxiety when faced with uncertainty. 6. Self-worth calculus. Worth becomes intrinsically tied to productivity and achievement. Relaxation or unproductive time can trigger intense guilt or anxiety. 7. The comparison trap. There's a constant measuring of oneself against others, always finding areas where one falls short. This perpetual comparison fuels further striving and discontent. 8. Difficulty with praise. Compliments are often deflected or minimized. There's an inability to internalize positive feedback, as it conflicts with the deep-seated belief in one's inadequacy. 9. All or nothing thinking. Life is often viewed in extremes. Projects are either perfect or failures. People are either allies or opponents. This black and white thinking leaves little room for nuance or grace. 10. The burnout cycle. The relentless drive often leads to periods of intense work followed by exhaustion. However, rest is seen as a weakness, creating a cycle that can lead to serious physical and mental health issues. Recognizing these patterns is crucial, but how do we begin to heal this deep-seated wound? Here are some strategies. 1. Redefine success. Challenge your definition of success. Is it truly about flawless performance, or could it be about growth, learning, and meaningful impact? To embrace good enough, start practicing the art of good enough. Set intentionally imperfect goals and learn to be okay with meeting, not exceeding, expectations. 3. Cultivate self-compassion. When you catch that inner critical voice, pause. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend facing a similar situation. Remember, you are worthy of kindness, especially from yourself. 4. Explore the origins. Reflect on where your drive for perfection originated. Understanding its roots can help you challenge its hold on your present. 5. Practice vulnerability. Start sharing your struggles with trusted friends or a therapist. The act of opening up, of admitting to being human, can be profoundly healing. 6. Reassess your values. Are your current values truly your own, or are they remnants of childhood conditioning? Take time to consciously choose what truly matters to you. 7. Implement regular imperfection practices. Schedule time for activities where perfection is impossible, like learning a new skill or engaging in free-form creative expression. 8. Challenge black and white thinking. When you catch yourself in all-or-nothing thought patterns, pause. Can you find a middle ground? Life usually exists in shades of gray. 9. Cultivate mindfulness. Practices like meditation can help you become aware of your thought patterns without getting caught up in them. This awareness is the first step to change. 10. Seek professional support. Consider working with a therapist who specializes in childhood trauma and perfectionism. They can provide tailored strategies for your unique situation. Remember, healing the injustice wound isn't about lowering your standards or abandoning your drive. It's about finding balance, embracing your humanity, and redefining success on your own terms. It's about understanding that true strength lies not in perfection, but in the ability to be resilient, adaptable, and compassionate, especially with yourself. As you embark on this journey, be patient. The patterns formed by the injustice wound have deep roots, and change won't happen overnight. Celebrate small victories. Each time you choose self-compassion over self-criticism, each time you embrace good enough instead of pushing for perfection, you're rewriting a lifelong script. Your journey from relentless overachievement to balanced success has the power to inspire others trapped in the perfection paradigm. Share this video to start important conversations about the emotional roots of our drive for achievement. Subscribe for more insights into the psychology of personal growth. Remember, in a world that often equates worth with achievement, the most revolutionary act can be embracing your inherent value, separate from any external measure of success. Your worth isn't in your flawlessness or your achievements, but in your full, complex, beautifully human experience. Thank you for watching. This is Ayla, signing off.